Let's recognize the value and contribution of Helen Keller, whose birthday is June 27th. Also, we'll talk about Jumbo Braille. Really? There's a different size of Braille out there? And how about the Monarch, that fancy, posh, huge Braille display that's winging its way to me in just 3 days? Hi everyone, so glad to have you back with me at Your Fingertips, Braille Then and Now. I'm thinking, particularly this month, as I always do, of Helen Keller and her birthday, which is June 27th. She was born in 1880 at a time when education for blind people, let alone deafblind people, was really slim, especially in terms of higher education. And she was the first deafblind person to graduate from college. And I read about her a lot as a little girl, and maybe that would have been about 50 years ago when I was reading about her. And turns out she'd only been gone maybe 7 or 8 years, and there was a lot of information floating around about deaf, blind people that may or may not have been true. Oftentimes, I noticed that people talked louder to me because they thought I also couldn't hear. And so it was kind of an amusing stereotype that fortunately has subsided. But back to Helen Keller, I really admire her. She was an incredible orator, even though she had to learn to speak. She had tremendous ideas, lots of political pursuits. She was a champion of so many causes. But one of her amazing causes was that of making sure that Braille was recognized as our reading code. And she was instrumental in promoting that. And then she worked for 20 years at the American Foundation for the Blind as well. And so when I think about Helen Keller's legacy, I'm forever grateful that she championed Braille, that it was so important to her to learn any means of technology, whatever that was, reading codes, whatever they were at the time, to propel her life forward and to make other people's lives better by promoting her causes. So there's a great resource that you might love to know about if you are a person who is deafblind and you would like to be able to attain equipment. The National Deafblind Equipment Distribution Program, that's a mouthful, or it's known by its I Can Connect program website, is really a wonderful organization that provides low-income folks in the U.S. here with equipment that furthers their communication. I have worked with someone who obtained a Braille display from this organization, or they actually funded it. And then I was able to provide training with that person using the Braille display. So it's a really awesome resource. If you go to helenkeller.org/HKNC, you'll be able to read more about this equipment provision program. And my apologies again, I'm US-centric, but that's where I am. And I'm wondering if there are other resources in other countries where you can also obtain that kind of support. But we really appreciate this organization providing equipment to low-income folks that need it. I have had several conversations with a deafblind person using their iPhone and a Braille display. They turned on live captioning, and then when I'm speaking to them, the Braille is displayed for them, and it is caught by the iPhone as our conversation evolves. So I was nervous about communicating because I don't chat with many deafblind individuals, and I really wasn't sure how it was going to go, but I was so fascinated to know that I just speak clearly and distinctly. I don't really change anything that I'm doing. I'm speaking to you in the same way I spoke to this person that I was at breakfast and dinner with, and they knew what I was saying. It was absolutely remarkable. I understand that the notes transcription, according to one website, provides a better experience than the live transcriptions captioning. But maybe those of you who use that can chime in and send us some feedback at unmute.show. We would love to hear from you and your experience with it if you happen to be deafblind and you use this method of conversing with folks. Changing topics here, I was asked a very fascinating question by a child, and it was probably the best question I've ever received in a classroom chat discussion about how it is for me to be blind. I'm going to say it was probably about 30 years ago, maybe. A child asked me, are there different sizes of Braille, just like there are different sizes of print? What a cool question. I had to think a minute. I don't know if I knew about Jumbo Braille then, because I don't happen to have a need to use it, so I'm not sure if I answer this child in this way. But I was wondering if you've heard of Jumbo Braille, what it is, how you can possibly use it, whether it should be a choice for you. I think there's a lot of value in using large Braille or Jumbo Braille. The question is, do you need Jumbo Braille or do you need a Braille display that will allow your fingers to feel the Braille even more fully? Some people have neuropathy and they really need to have that firm texture of the Braille that doesn't fade or wear out. Another thing is that some people, do have tremors and their hands might wander, their fingers might shake. And so keeping you steady on one line is a really great idea. But in terms of the neuropathy, some people, when I do assess them, there are just a few that really have trouble even feeling the dots on my Braille display. Maybe a B feels just like one big dot. And so when I know that 2 or 3 dots are not distinguishable, then I really think about Jumbo Braille after this person has had a chance to try a Braille display. So if somebody has difficulty with a Braille display, I offer them the chance to learn Jumbo Braille. Now, the challenge with Jumbo Braille is it's really not available too many places. It's basically for personal use, writing notes. If you use a jumbo slate and stylus, yes, I know those antiquated writing devices, or you happen to get hold of a Jumbo Braille writer or label maker, you are able to write your own notes. And for labeling perspectives, it's really a great option. And so I do teach people to read Jumbo Braille. Our embosser at my workplace actually can produce Jumbo Braille. You have to do some finagling and fiddling with the settings because the Jumbo Braille cell is 40% larger than the standard Braille cell. So the dots themselves are the same size. They are just spaced such that horizontally and vertically, they're just a little farther apart. So Jumbo Braille is an option if tactile discrimination is an issue, even with the Braille display. And if you check standard companies that you might order Braille supplies from, Perkins is one example. They have a Jumbo Brailler. APH has some tools, and some other companies that sell Braille materials and equipment. You should be able to find a jumbo or large cell Braille writer or other tools that you can use. Those people closest to me know that I love butterflies, and I just love everything about them. They're beautiful. I'm sure they're colorful. They are graceful. The idea of the metamorphosis of the caterpillar into the butterfly is really just astounding, and they're just great. And at my recent big birthday party, well, a few months ago now, the theme was butterflies. And so we had butterflies everywhere on the plates, on the napkins. People brought some things with butterflies, and it was just really fun. So what does that have to do with Braille? Well, I'm looking forward to an amazing opportunity that I am receiving a Monarch Braille display, and it's winging its way to me, and it will be here in just a few days. I am a part of the RISE, R-I-S-E project, and I am looking forward to working with APH to test this product, to propose what I'm doing with it in my work situation with me and my students and all the experiences that I have with it. I am so looking forward to this opportunity. I can't believe that my application went through and I am going to be receiving it to be a part of this project for the next few years. And what am I hoping to do with this? I'm really looking forward to collaborating with the people who are in our cohort, getting to know people, getting to find out what are they doing with it, use cases for it, just the really amazing opportunity that we will all have. I'm looking forward to reading text and graphics because they can both be displayed on the surface of the device. I love maps. I've always loved maps, and so I'm really looking forward to exploring those. I want to load in some line drawings. I want to look at audio channels and pathways for Loopback, for instance, which is a program that runs on the Mac and allows you to connect different ins and outs together in a chain sequence, which eludes me a bit because I would be a visual learner if I could see what I was doing. I want to examine spreadsheets where I have more room to roam. I want to look at things that are read better on a multi-line display, books and music, and I'm a musician, so I'm really looking forward to that. And just really promoting the whole project, learning all I can, and I am sure I'll be back with a lot more information when I excitedly unbox this amazing apparatus that is really moving the goalpost forward in providing accessible tactile graphics in Braille on the same display. So I hope this has been interesting to you, a little walk back in history with Helen Keller and her contribution. Jumbo Braille, that could be a new thing that you've learned about as an option. And then thinking about what's coming forth in terms of new technology that you'll be hearing out more about the Monarch. Have a lovely June, and we will see you next time.